रामानुजदया पात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना। भूतं शरस्य महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं को न याति परां गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना। अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमदिपाठलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि रघुरामनन्दनम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमः राक्षसान्तकम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमः राक्षसान्तकम्। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रासध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः। Srimad Ramayanam is regarded as the Itihasa Sreshtham, that is, the greatest amongst the epics. In our Sanatana Dharmam tradition, we have been blessed with two important itihasas. One is Srimad Ramayanam and the other is Srimad Mahabharatam. In Srimad Mahabharatam, we have certain important topics which are of great philosophical value. One is Yaksha Prashnam, then comes Vidhuraniti, followed by the teachings what Gitacharya, that is Krishna, gave to Arjuna, which is called as Bhagavad Gita, and finally what knowledge Bhishmacharya gave to us regarding the 1000 holy names of Sri Mahavishnu called as Vishnu Sahasranamam. Besides these four, there are other topics like Sanat Sujatiyam and the rest, which give a lot of philosophical meaning and value to our lives. Hence, Mahabharatam is called as Bharataha Panchamo Vedaha. It is regarded as the fifth Vedam. coming to Srimad Ramayanam, it is called as the Itihasa Sreshtham. Despite Mahabharata being called the fifth Vedam, it is not called the better among the scriptures. It is Ramayanam which is called. Why is it so? Because it not only teaches us how to live our life, but it is always a part of our life. Ramayanam is not different from the life in which we are living at present today. Though we may see certain mishappenings, certain atrocities, certain calamities, certain social evils in our society, yet the basic value of Srimad Ramayanam, the basic values what Sri Ram and Sita have imparted to us is still in our blood. It cannot be taken out of us. Srimad Ramayanam is something which has been coming tradition after tradition, generation after generation, era after era, yugam after yugam. There is not even a single period that our Bharata Bhumi has faced where there is no discourse, no lecture given on Ramayanam. In every village, in every town, in every urban city, in any place besides our country, Srimad Ramayanam is still finding its importance in some way or the other. Through our Acharya Sishya Parampara, we have got the great route of explaining the esoteric meanings of Srimad Ramayanam through a classic style called as Kalakshepam or Upanyasam. A lighter note of this to reach the common people, like us, is Harikatha Kalakshepam, where there is a mix of music as well as the daily lives example to bring out the essence of Ramayanam in a much easier way. Besides, there are many countries, including our own country, where a lot of dramas, skits, beautiful classical dances are enacted based on the theme of Ramayanam. Not stopping with this, we have got lots of books, starting from the commentaries written in Sanskrit to the transcreations of Srimad Ramayanam of Valmiki in Sanskrit to the other regional languages like in Tamil, Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu, Marathi, Bengali, Hindi, Nepali, Gujarati and so on. Like we have so many transcreations, like we have so many themes, we also have a lot of books. Books like Sri Rajagopalachari, Kamala Subramanyam, R.K. Narayan give a lot of value to this particular scripture by making it easy for the common people to read. We also have a lot of books with a modern version, a slight twist, a beautiful twist to Srimad Ramayanam, like the series of Ashok Bankar. And we have a lot of serials which came in the form of series in the 1980s, 90s and 2000s, which have inspired the masses in India to such an extent where even certain reports have said people used to literally stop working. People used to stop what things they were doing at home just to watch the serial of Ramayanam. Ramayanam is also a theme to many people who are directing movies. What more do we need from this epic? What more examples or what more exemplifications do we need to say or to state that Srimad Ramayanam is much more than our life? But we also know that despite Ramayanam being come for so many generations through so many mediums, we have never stopped hearing to Srimad Ramayanam. It has always interested us. It has always interested us in such a way that we always feel like hearing it to it again and again. Thus, this series of Upanyasam or discourses of over 30 to 35 hours is intended to bring the essence of Srimad Ramayanam with all the esoteric meanings what our Acharyas have taught to us through their great Granthas and Stotramalas. Srimad Ramayanam, though is regarded as one of the most important scriptures in our Sanatana Dharmam tradition, which people generally equate it with the word Hinduism, because the word Hinduism is more popular than the most enriching name Sanatana Dharmam. So people generally associate the word Ramayanam with the story of Ram and Sita. Had it been the story of Ram and Sita, the author of Srimad Ramayanam, who is Valmiki Maharishi, would not have coined the name Ramayanam to it. He could have had a list of other names. He could have called it Ramacharitram, he could have called it Rama Kathamritam, Rama Katha, while he chose not to choose those choices, but he coined the name Ramayanam. If the word Ramayanam has been chosen for the scripture, why is it called Ramayanam? Is the question. We might know very well that in our Hindu calendar, there are about 360 days. And these 360 days are distributed in 12 months. So every month has 30 days and totally there are 360 days. These 12 months are divided into set of two. The first set of 6 months and the second set of 6 months. The first set of 6 months most probably starts on the 15th of January. It lasts from January to Feb to March to April to May to June to July. So this set of 6 months is called as Uttarayanam. Whereas the time period between the mid of July to the mid of Jan, the other set of 6 months is called Dakshinayanam. Though we have chosen different branches after our 10th standard, and we might have done a graduation or a post-graduation in it, yet there are certain subjects which have to be studied by a person until his or her 10th standard. And one important subject is geography, which is called Bhugola Shastram. In that Bhugola Shastram, we have studied that our Mother Earth, who's Bhuma Devi, rotates around her own axis, and at the same time she takes a revolution. The time period for one single rotation is 24 hours, which we call it a single day, a dinam, which constitutes the 12 hours of the day and the 12 hours of the night. The time taken for her to take a complete revolution around the sun is 1 year. While she is on the position of a revolution, while she is going around the sun on a pradakshanam, the sun's rays, the intensity of the sun's rays is more on the northern hemisphere in the first set of 6 months. Whereas the intensity of the same sun's rays is more on the southern hemisphere in the other set of 6 months. In Sanskrit, the word which is used to denote the northern direction is Uttaram. Since the sun's rays trace the path or walk on the northern direction, it is called as Uttaram Ayanam Uttarayanam. Since the sun's rays trace the path in the southern direction, it is called Dakshinam Ayanam Dakshinayanam. Since Ram traced the path of righteousness, and since we the Chetanas, the Jivatmas, the souls who follow him, it is called as Ramaha Ayanam Ramayanam. What is Uttarayanam? Uttarayanam is the path traced by the sun on the northern direction. Uttaram Ayanam Uttarayanam. The path traced by the sun's rays in the southern direction is Dakshinam Ayanam Dakshinayanam. So the path taken by Ram is Ramaha Ayanam Ramayanam. So it is not Ramakatha, it is not Ramacharitram, it is not Ramakathamritam, but the word is Ramayanam. I am stressing on this point again and again because we are going to swim across the huge ocean of Ramayanam from hours together. And when we know that we are going to swim in this ocean of Ramayanam for hours together, we should also have the thought and we should establish this truth in us that Ramayanam is Satyam, Ramayanam is truth. If we think that Ramayanam is a fiction and it is a figment of somebody's imagination, I am sure we will not be able to enjoy even a bit of it. Hence, let us invoke the blessings of Sri Ram, Sita, Lakshmana and Hanuman so that they will take away all the obstacles that may come during the series of our lectures, our Upanyasam. There is one famous shloka which says, Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham, Nasti Matra Samo Guru, Nasti Vishnu Samo Devo, Nasti Ramayanat Param, Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham. Swami Vedanta Deshika was one of the foremost disciples in the disciple succession of Sri Ramanujacharya. Once while he was on a pilgrimage tour to the North India, he came across one of the sadhus who said, Swami Deshika, I am going to take bath, I am going to have a dip in the holy Ganges so that the holy river could wash away the sins that is associated with me for the past so many births. Swami Vedanta Deshika said, it is one of the most well thought decisions that you have taken, O Sadhu. But the Sadhu immediately put a question to Swami Deshika and asked, could you please tell me the nearest well? Swami Vedanta Deshika was perplexed. He said, why do you need to know a well? To this the Sadhu said, before I take a dip in the holy Ganges, I would like to wash away all the body dirt that is associated with me. To this Swami Deshika replied, hey Sadhu, when the holy Ganga has the ability and the power to wash away the sins that you have accumulated for all the janmas that have been associated previously, she also has the power to remove this little body dirt that you have. So don't go to a well, go better take bath in the Ganges. I said this because Nasti Ganga Samam Tirtham. There is no river which is as holy as the river Ganges. There is no one who can equal or who is greater than the mother as a teacher, who plays the role of a teacher. Hence it is said, Nasti Matra Samo Guruhu. There is one common question that comes in the minds of people whenever they think of this word Hinduism. They ask, why does this religion have so many gods and demigods? Well, this is a question that comes in the minds of so many people. And some people have even got a chart, they've got a timetable that on Monday they will be visiting this temple, on Tuesday they will be visiting this temple. And even if there are about 10 days a week, people still have a timetable because there are so many gods and demigods. But there can be only one supreme power, there can only be one supreme personality of Godhead, there can be only one Parabrahman. The Vedas, which are 4 in number, they themselves took up this task of finding out who that supreme person is, who that supreme Parabrahman is. As we are all well aware that there are 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajuhu, Sama, Atharvanam. Rig Vedam, Yajur Vedam, Sama Vedam and Atharvana Vedam. Sri Ram himself, in the later portion we will see, that is during Kishkinda Kandam, when Hanuman meets Ram and Lakshmana for the first time, and after he introduces himself to the duo Ram and Lakshmana, at the end of it, Ram praises the eloquence, the ability of speaking of Hanuman to his brother Lakshmana and says, Na nrigveda vinitasya na yajurveda dharinaha na samaveda vidushaha. He explains the beauty of Hanuman's speech and compares them to the exemplary qualities of the Vedas. Our Vedas are 4 in number and every Veda has 4 sections in it. Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Samhita and Upanishad. Upanishad constitutes the last section of every Veda. Since it is the last section of every Veda, the end of every Veda, it is called as Vedantam, Antam of the Vedas. The Vedas took up this task of searching who that Parabrahman is. In our day-to-day life also, people who go to work, who start to work by around 8:30 in the morning, they cook and they keep their things packed, and when they are about to leave, they start searching for their cell phone or the watch. When they are unable to find that particular object for which they are searching, be it a watch or a cell phone, some other member of the family takes up the task saying, you may not be able to find, let me find. And they start searching. They start researching. Likewise, the first these 3 sections, the Brahmanam, the Aranyakam and the Samhita, these 3 sections took up the task of searching the Supreme Person. But while they were unable to find that Supreme Person at the end of their search process, their search operation, the Vedantam, the Upanishads, took the task of searching them. Hence they started researching. Ayodhya Sarva-shastrani, all the shastrams, Ayodhya, they all had a round table conference and they wanted to search that Parabrahman. Vicharyasya punaha, again and again, they had a vicharam, they had the thought. Finally they came to a consensus, finally they took the decision. Idam yekam. So that Parabrahman, that Supreme Person is one. Sunishpannam, they undoubtedly took that decision. Who is that? Dhyeyo Narayana Sada. That Parabrahmam is Sriman Narayan. In Srimad Mahabharatam, which is the other itihasam, the other scripture, Bhishmacharya, who was put to the bed of arrows, looks at Sri Krishna and chants the 1,000 holy names of Vishnu, and that is celebrated as Vishnu Sahasranamam. Hence the shloka says, Nasti Vishnu Samo Devo. There is no one who is equivalent to Vishnu. And finally comes the crux of it, the message of it. Nasti Ramayanat Param. There is nothing which can equal Srimad Ramayanam. While we have seen the importance of the name Ramayanam and how great it is, we will be failing in our duty if we don't recognize the author of it, who is none other than Valmiki Bhagavan. When I am saying the word Valmiki Bhagavan, a doubt may arise in your hearts as to why I am putting the word Bhagavan to him. Is he a god? No. He recognized the god and he showed it to us. Hence he is called Valmiki Bhagavan. But Valmiki was not a person who was totally into devotion right since his birth. He was a hunter. He was also a part of the dacoit group. Once Narada Maharishi, who is regarded as the celestial sage, came across in the forest. He found the dacoit and the hunter who was called Ratnakar. Ratnakar found the celestial sage. He did not know that it was Narada Maharishi. And he said that he had not found any animal today and he was going to take the Rishi home. The Rishi said, you can very well take me home, but please do think of this fact, that when you are eating some animal's flesh for your own selfish reason, the sins that accumulate in you will not be shared by anybody else. But the flesh which you find out of hunting will be shared by your family members. Please go ask one question to your family members, that they are sharing the share of meat, whatever they are getting out of your hunting every day, and they partake it. Will they be capable enough to take and share the sins that arise out of your hunting? Immediately, Ratnakar, the robber and the hunter said, Narada Maharishi, please wait here. I will go to my house. I am very sure that my family members will be in a position to share my sins also, my pavam also. Let me go and come. While Ratnakar went inside his house, he asked, I have got so much of sins accumulated. Will you be in a position to share all of them? Immediately his wife, his children and his parents gave a unanimous answer in unison. They said, no. This one word no created so much of a change in Ratnakar that he came back to Narada Maharishi and fell at his feet and said, Hey Rishi, now what can I keep doing? Narada Maharishi said, I am so happy that you have realized it now, that you need some spiritual guidance in your life. What is this? He asked, pointing at a tree. Immediately the hunter Ratnakar said, it is a vriksham, which is also called as Mara. Narada Maharishi said, please keep reciting this name as many times as possible so that you get into deep penance. Ratnakar agreed to every word of Narada Maharishi and sat in penance and started repeating the name Mara, 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 Mara. While he was repeating the word Mara, 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 Maram, the word Ram was hidden in it. Rama, 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 Ram. Hence he sat in total penance. We might have noticed in most of the animated movies that we have watched, when a person sits for a penance, immediately the ants build a hill over him. This was the case with Ratnakar also. A huge ant hill was built over him in such a way that a person who was seeing from far could not see the person who was meditating inside. He could only see one ant hill. It was the monsoon season and Varuna Bhagavan, the Lord of the rain, poured in a heavy flow. He came with a great force, and he came in such a force that the ant hill was washed away in just a minute. while it was washed away, a resplendent person with a halo around his head who was meditating arose. He was none other than the Ratnakar. Immediately, the celestial gods coined a name for this person who was in penance. Since he was shown to the people of this world by the rain god, by Varuna, who was called as Prachetaha, this man who arose out of the anthill due to the gushing waters was called as Prachetasaha. Hence this shloka says, Veda Vedye Pare Pumsi Dase Dasharatha Atmaje Veda Prachetasa Veda Prachetasa Prachetasaha. And since he was born out of the anthill, we all have a year. Whenever there are crackers that are bursting on the road during the Diwali time, we say, my ears are paining. Likewise, we create so much of noise and trouble to our Mother Earth. How can she hear then? She of course has ears, and her ears are the anthills. Swami Deshika says, Vedopa Brahmana Kutuhalina Nibaddham Vishwambhara Shruti Bhavena Maharshinayat. Vishwambhara, Mother Earth is called by so many names. One of the names is Vishwambhara. Since she bears all the weight of us, she is called as Vishwambhara. Shruti Bhavena, how does she hear? Through the anthills. Hence these anthills are the ears to the Mother Earth, and these anthills are called as Valmikam in Sanskrit. Since Ratnakar Prachetasa arose out of that anthill, he was called as Valmiki from that day. Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam. Every word of his is so beautiful. Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam. This shloka says that there is a beautiful tree, there is a beautiful branch, and on the branch there is a beautiful cuckoo which sings so well. And that cuckoo is no other than the Rishi Valmiki, and whatever he sings is not just a song, it is just Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuram Madhuram. It is as sweet as the honey. This Valmiki Bhagavan, who had written this Ramayanam, was not a person who wrote it out of his imagination. Here where we have to understand the difference between a Puranam and an Itihasam. We call Bhagavata Puranam, we say Vishnu Puranam, Shiva Puranam, Vayu Puranam, Linga Puranam, Varuna Puranam. Whereas we never say Ramayana Puranam. Because Ramayanam is not a Puranam, it is an Itihasam. To explain this in simple words, we might notice there are so many news channels that come in us. They say that we telecast all these news 24/7. And there is one person who acts as a correspondent in the place where there is an incident happening. He or she has a mic in their hand and they report to us whatever happens, whether be it good or bad, whether there are good things happening or whether there are bad things happening. All of these things are reported to us without any flaw, without any manipulation. Likewise, Valmiki is a reporter. He is the one who reports whatever incidents happened during Rama's lifetime. Hence, Ramayanam is not a Puranam. Puranam is something that comes through generations, whereas Itihasam is something Iti-ha. Whenever you separate the word Itihasam, it is Iti-ha. Ha means something that has happened. Hence, Itihasam is something that has happened and that is being reported to us without any manipulation. So, there should not be even an iota of doubt in our hearts whether something has been manipulated, whether something has been tampered in Ramayanam. Nothing. Some people have this doubt whether Valmiki existed lived after the time of Ram, or whether he lived during the Ramayanam time. He lived during the Ramayanam time. This can be exemplified by one beautiful shloka wherein when King Dasharatha says that Rama has to go to the forest, Ram along with his brother Lakshmana and his wife Sita, the trio, walk into the forest. They meet so many Maharishis and they seek the blessings of so many Maharishis, and one among the Maharishis is Valmiki. There is one shlokam in the same Ramayanam which comes, Iti Sita cha Ramascha Lakshmanascha Kritonjalihi Abhigamya Ashramam Sarve Valmiki Abhivadadayan Tan Maharshihi Pramuditah Pujayamasa Dharmavit Astamiti Stashovacha Swagatam Tam Nivedhya cha